Hello and welcome back to Are You Serious? Oh, I got this notification. I said, oh my God, you have to be kidding me. Most common questions about hijab answered. Well, let's hope, number one, that she pronounces it properly. That would be the number one, can you even say it? In her last time she put it on, she still doesn't know how to do it. So I don't know what she could possibly be answering about this. I've looked at the comments already. She has her dear husband, perfect information, sweetheart, mashallah. May Allah protect you and be with you always. Shukran, hayati. Okay, thank you, my life, my love. Perfect information, hassalah. Okay, so it's going to be a test for you as well, huh? All right, well, let's do it.
Hi guys, assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to my channel.
Hey there, Beezers. Want a personalized video?
I'm so annoyed. I'm so annoyed. She says, assalamu alaikum, welcome back. Oh, hey, do you want to buy a cameo? Unbelievable. It's so obnoxious. Like, can't you at least put this at the end? You're going to be discussing a religious topic. You finally greet people with assalamu alaikum, wa alaikum salam. And you get an ad, your own ad injected right here, 13 seconds in.
From me to you.
And this is actually a recorded video I have been thinking of doing for a while, though I feel like I have seriously fallen off track with my faith lately and haven't been focused.
No way. Really? No way. Like your community posts, you mean? Yeah, how else? How else? Shilling for a scam company? I'm posting that video shortly. How else? How else have you fallen off? The willing destruction of your own body, the lying constantly. I mean, what? How exactly?
Focusing on what's important in my faith, my religion, my life, everything. So I am getting back on track with a lot of things, and one of those things is wanting to put.
I wish you guys could see my eye roll right now. It is so intense. I'm like practically just staring at the ceiling at this point.
Put up more content regarding my reversion to Islam. I'm going to do different videos on, why I consider myself a revert, why I chose Islam, and
what I'm guessing is that people are so fed up with the diet content and the constant BS with the mukbangs, the binging, the Weight Watchers, all of it. Everyone's fed up with it. So we're on to a new topic now. That's my guess.
So on and so forth.
Because she's really had no interest in discussing this before. She's out of content.
But today I want to talk about the hijab and why I choose to dress the way I dress and different questions I see very frequently. So I thought I would just answer the most common ones here regarding Muslim dress for women. I can do a video with Salah on Muslim dress for men.
I want you to discuss your dress. Do not continue to lump us in with your BS, please. Everyone thinks that women in the end of July in Kuwait are wearing winter clothing just because you are. Don't lump us in.
And in the future as well.
Even Salah told you not to dress like this.
So, bit of a history. I am a Muslim revert. I took my Shahada about 6 months ago. But when I met my husband last October, I was introduced to Islam. And I remember getting my first hijab, and I remember the feeling of wearing it, how I just had this sensation come over me, this sense of calm and closeness to God. And I can't explain the feeling.
That's not what you said back then. I did a video about her hijab video back then, and she said she was wearing it for a man. She said she was wearing it out of respect for her man and his culture.
And this is why I like to wear this hijab, out of respect for my partner, as a symbol to my devotion to him, as well as my devotion to becoming a more respectful, humble, modest person and woman.
Okay. Again, that's Muslimas wear hijab, and Muslima is a, a female Muslim. Muslimas wear hijab because of God. Period. So I'm hearing a lot of other reasons. And, it can have those other effects as well. But the devotion and honestly, Salah as a Muslim man would want her to wear it for God, not for him. It's not about him. It shouldn't be about him. There are many Muslim women across the world married to Muslim men who don't cover, who don't wear hijab, who don't cover their bosom, who have their cleavage out. That doesn't make them any less Muslim, in my opinion. Only God knows what's in your heart. And it doesn't mean that she respects her husband any less or is devoted to her husband any less.
There are a lot of misconceptions about the hijab.
True.
So I did a little bit of research on my own because I did feel a little bit guilty at first. Like, am I allowed to wear this? What's going on? The cat hair, but I have a lot of cats and black and cat hair. No bueno. So I found a website called Haute Hijab, and it's a hijab shopping website. And the CEO actually answered this question very, very thoroughly. If I'm not Muslim, can I wear a hijab? And a lot of the points made sense, so I'll just read a little bit of it for you. Somebody asked, I just recently became interested in hijabs. I've always found them beautiful and exuding such class and have been thinking of wearing one. For the most part, I dress relatively modestly, and then the person replied, thank you for reaching out. You might be surprised to learn that we get asked this question a lot. God prescribed hijab and modest dress for Muslims just as he did the Jews and Christians before us. That's actually true. If you look at the Virgin Mary, her head is completely covered.
Mm-hmm.
As I'm sure you know, Christians used to cover their hair, but the practice has been long abandoned. This is in obedience to 1 Corinthians 11.5, which says, every woman who prays with her head uncovered dishonors her head, for that is one and the same as if her head were shaved. So they all...
And that's out of the Bible.
Also say Muslims do not own the head cover. Tone down the makeup a lot too. I feel better, more natural without those huge lashes on my eyelashes. And this is, I don't have any foundation on or anything. Yes, I think my camera has some filters. I apologize. But I do have some lip gloss and lip liner on. I like this style. There's so many different shawls and abayas and styles to try. I'm trying this out, in all honesty, because you know that I have been very overwhelmed with a lot of attention in general, I guess, that I'm getting online. I know that I need to have some negative with the positive. I know that I will be forever remembered for my rages. I always have tried to do what I felt was the appropriate thing to do when it comes to criticism. As you can see, I purchased my first hijab today. This is just a 2-piece set. I could do more videos on that another time. I bought a nice pin for it, even though this is it's already molded or whatever you want to call it. It's already fit. It's a 2-piece, so I don't have to do the wrapping, is what I meant to say. So I don't really need a pin, but I think the pin is so cute. And it's actually really comfortable, and I'm actually surprised when I put it on how it just fit and just felt nice. I feel good being covered. I'm a little bit insecure about my hair loss. And I just feel more secure being covered. And I have decided to try to adopt different values, try to be more humble, because at the end of the day, when you eat all of the paneer and you eat all of the fried chicken sandwiches and you sleep with the world and you do all kinds of things that are just temporary gratification, you realize that at the end of the day, there's just only so much temporary instant gratification and bad habits that you can chase. And at the end of the day, you're still just left with, what now? So I feel like things that are more important to me are starting to be our values and principles and things like that. So her memory
is faulty?
It's a personal feeling, and I guess unless you experience it, you can't really understand what it's like. But it was like a feeling of closeness to God, and calmness, and feeling more protected and reserved. And that's when I became into modest dress as well. So one question I get asked a lot is, why wear the hijab? So there are a few reasons I choose to wear the hijab. One is that it's a...
And she's saying it correctly now. She's finally saying it correctly. I mean, I've been saying hijab since I started my channel, because that's how it's pronounced. That's how I pronounce it. And ever since I made a serious point of to stop saying hijab, now she's suddenly saying it correctly. I don't know.
Outlined requirement in the Quran, and it's a form of obedience to Allah.
You're going to have to leave it up. I don't have this sped up at all. It's on normal. If you are going to post Quranic quotes, you need to put the surah. You have to list everything so that people can look it up themselves. You flashed it on the screen.
It's a form of obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it's also a visual representation of myself as a woman, a Muslim woman, and a representation again of my devotion to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I find the hijab the opposite of what a lot of people stereotype it as. They stereotype it as, you know, oppressive. In some countries it is required by law, and that's it may be different, but for a lot of Muslim women it's a choice, and it's used as a devotion and expression, and it's actually very empowering for me to be modest and respect my body, and also it gives me a sense of calm, a sense of protection. I have a past where I was the opposite, the complete polar opposite of how I dress now. You know, I used to dress very revealing and very just very different. You know, I was a non-hijabi, and I'm from Canada, by the way. I am a Westerner from Canada, and I just dressed, you know, just very very different. So
we've all seen her naked is what she's trying to say.
But you know, God is all merciful and forgiving, so I am on a spiritual journey. I'm not perfect yet, and a lot of the changes have been very difficult for me, especially a lot of personality and behavior changes. But that's another topic for another video. So that ties into, is the hijab a choice? Yes, it is a choice for most Muslim women. Now, the hijab is commanded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so that to me is kind of indicative that it's not really a choice, because, you know, your God commands you to do something. I think that, you know, that should be obeyed, and so for me that makes it, you know, required by my religion. But you know, of course everyone has free choice, and whether they choose to wear the hijab or not is completely between them and Allah. Another question I get asked a lot is, did your husband Salah demand that you wear the hijab? Actually, he didn't ever ask me to. I made the decision to go and, you know, try it first when I started becoming interested in Islam, when I met him.
No. I mean, you can try to rewrite history. Your videos are still up. You wanted to cover your head because you shaved your head.
I'm a little bit insecure about my hair loss.
You started wearing head coverings You were on Tinder meeting all kinds of Muslim guys, like different Arabs, Turkish, whatever, right? And this Kuwaiti guy kept contacting you. So you decided to go buy some. You were wearing them, and you told your entire audience that you hadn't converted, you hadn't reverted to Islam, that you were just respecting your man and his culture while you were sitting in Canada. So you didn't have an interest in Islam. You had an interest in a guy. I'm just calling it as I see it. We didn't hear any talk about Islam. She specifically told her audience that she wasn't even they hadn't even discussed it, and she was already wearing it. And you talk about personality stuff, lying is a big, big character flaw. Huge.
Him. And I will say, though, he does prefer that I wear it, especially as a Muslim woman now. But he never...
Because he doesn't want to walk around with you when you're bald, right? Right?
Never forced me or anything like that. I was a non-hijabi when I met him, but his preference is for me to wear one, and actually that's fine because it is my preference as well. So this question ties into these questions just all kind of tie in with one another, but
this is deceptive in my opinion. This is deceptive what she's doing. So a hijabi, right, is a term some people use to describe Muslim women wear hijab. I used to see it online all the time years ago, and I was using the term from time to time until someone told me that some women do take offense to that term, so I stopped using it. Not a big deal. I just thought that it was an okay word. Some women really don't like it. So when she's saying that she was non-hijabi when she met Salah, would imply that she was Muslim but not wearing hijab. That's because only Muslim women wear hijab. Hijab as itself, we're not talking about a turban. We're not talking about a beanie cap. We're talking about what she's wearing right now is associated with Islam. This is hijab, what she's wearing. So to say you were a non-hijabi when you met your husband implies to your audience that you were Muslim at the time. You just weren't wearing hijab. So the timeline, is she going to start fudging the timeline as well, saying that she's been Muslim for 5 years but just wasn't wearing hijab? She went and tried on hijab, bought some, was wearing them, while telling her audience over and over again that she wasn't Muslim, that she and Salah had never even discussed it. And it was several months before she would take her Shahada. So this is, in my opinion, very deceptive.
Do you wear the hijab for your man, or for God? And I 100% wear the hijab for God.
Well, when did that change, Chantal? Because I'm gonna link my video that I did on this, that she straight up said that she wears it for a man and for his culture. So at what point did that change?
It is a commandment by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that is why I wear it. Another question I get asked is, how old do you have to be to start?
Please don't answer that question. So subhanahu wa ta'ala means, because, she doesn't bother to translate anything for anyone. It's just supposed to be some kind of gatekeeping BS that, oh, I know what this means and you don't, kind of nonsense. So it just means the most glorified, the most high, and you're saying it after the word of God.
Start wearing the hijab. You can wear the hijab at any age, but it becomes a requirement.
I am just appalled right now. I know I keep pausing it. It's only a 14-minute video. If you want to go back and watch it all the way through, be my guest. But I am so appalled that she feels that she can even discuss this topic. It's appalling.
Whenever a woman hits puberty, And the reason that Allah commanded women to wear it was for their own protection, to keep, especially when you hit puberty, to protect your body, to protect your person from the eyes of other males. And you know what? It actually works because, you know, if you look at a woman who is dressed more, you know, openly, with, you know, cleavage and everything hanging out, of course that's going to get more eyes than, you know, if you're covering your beauty. I get
Chantal, now I know for a fact that you've been watching my channel. I never like to assume that. I never like to. You know, I'm just not that. My channel's very, very small, and I don't like to assume that. But you were literally repeating things that I've said almost verbatim. Did you print out a transcript of my video? This is appalling.
this comment a lot. I can't believe you're wearing that in the heat. You know, aren't you going to just like pass out? And how can you, you know, be commanded to be so uncomfortable in the heat with that? You know, Muslim women who still chose to stick to their devotion, even in the heat, you know, they're uncomfortable now, but they will be greatly rewarded in the afterlife for their sacrifice. All right, let's get to...
Any suffering that any Muslim does in this world for the religion, for God, will be rewarded. When you put yourself into needless sacrifice to become a martyr for wearing this outfit, do you really think that you're going to receive a reward for that? You are wearing essentially winter clothing in July in Kuwait, and you feel that you're making some kind of sacrifice here when women, Islam is very, very old. Women in the Middle East, in the desert, have found ways to cover themselves without having heat stroke crossing a parking lot. You have not yet found that. You're trying to, in my opinion, you're trying to make yourself look like a martyr. Oh, this is what I have to do. This is, oh, people comment on your videos. Do you really have to wear that? And you let people assume that every Muslim woman is suffering like this all summer long. And it's just not the case. It's just not. And people have asked, you know, could you wear cotton? Could you wear lighter colors? Yes, she could. Absolutely. But this fulfills a victim mentality, in my opinion.
Who can see my hair? Who can see me without the hijab? So basically in Islam, it's people who are my mahram, and that is people who it's technically mahram comes from the word haram. So it's people who it's not haram for them to see my hair. So and
if you're going to teach people about the religion and you're going to throw up graphics, you need to keep them on the screen long enough for people to look at them.
For them to see my hair. So and there are some people obviously that I have to observe the hijab with, and number one,
there we go, the hijab
would be public, so you guys, beezers, cannot ever see my hair, or basically most of my body, like anything other than my face, my hand, and sometimes a little bit of my wrist shows, but you know, technically I'm supposed to be covered up fully. So I had to write this down because sometimes it's confusing for me too.
No, you had to print out my transcript so you can read from it, right?
Now there's different types of mahram. There's through marriage. Somebody can become your mahram through marriage or blood. And once they become your mahram through marriage, they're always your mahrams.
I need you to stop. I need you to stop. I am so frustrated with her. Please stop. You're so obnoxious. She's saying Arabic words and not bothering to explain what they are. She just throws a graphic up. You're supposed to read a list of like 20 things and get it. She doesn't bother to explain anything. And you know, she put that in as an afterthought while editing. In a nutshell, Chantal, you know, I don't see, let me back up before I start stuttering and not finishing sentences. When you know a topic, when you understand a topic, you are able to explain it easily and simply for people who don't know about it. When you start using foreign words and not explaining what they are, when you aren't able to put something in simple terms and you're walking around and around and around the issue all different ways without any understanding of what you're saying, that is a clear indication that you don't understand it yourself. Therefore, in my opinion, you have no right to be making this video. No right at all. You basically have to wear hijab around men that you could potentially marry. End of story. That's it. That's it. That's it. You're in a room full of women and only women and men aren't going to be coming in. Take it off. You're hanging out with your family, your father, your brother, your sister. Take it off. You're with your husband by yourselves, take it off. Your husband comes home with a coworker or a male friend, put it on. Someone comes with food delivery and it's a guy, put it on. If it's a woman, you don't have to put it on. Okay, now let's hear her talk all this nonsense about whatever, however she's going to try to explain this to herself.
So, through blood, that goes without saying, basically any family members, aunts, uncles, father, mother, sisters, brothers, young children, your children, who else, grandparents. The only people that can't see you without your hijab are your like male cousins. But other than that, yeah, the husband of your aunt can't see you without your hijab. So through marriage, for example, your sister-in-law, daughter-in-law, basically any women, if you're a woman, can see you without hijab. But my stepfather can see me with the hijab. So let's say, for example, my mother and...
Your stepfather isn't blood to you. She has no idea what she's talking about.
My stepdad got divorced, he would still be able to see me without hijab. So when I go to family gatherings, for example, you know, let's say I go to like my grandfather's birthday party. Usually it's my uncle, his wife, my grandfather, my stepdad, my mom, my sister, and her boyfriend. So whenever her boyfriend comes along, which isn't always, I do have to wear my hijab. But if he's not there, then I can just style my hair and just wear whatever I want, basically. Sorry guys, I need to make a correction. Male relatives are not permitted to see my body, except for hair, face, hands, and feet, except for male cousins. And women are permitted to see my body, except for above the navel and below the middle, so basically arms and legs.
I can't believe you posted this video, Chantal. This is laughable. You're talking in circles. Then you have to stop to make a voiceover edit with something that makes no sense whatsoever. No sense. Have you been to what? No, you haven't. No, you haven't. You haven't been to a women's only pool, have you? Do you think you have to wear your abaya in the pool if it's women's only? No, you can wear a bikini. No hijab, nothing. Bikini. That's why they have gender separation with a lot of things, so you can be free, so you don't have to wear this all the time.
The only time I am wary about doing that, like if it's in the privacy of their own home, okay. But sometimes I feel like I will cover up anyways, especially if they're planning on putting family photos out somewhere on public social media. Then I will wear the hijab for photos, because you know, anyone who's my non-mahram can see them, just like you guys are the public. So that's when I will choose to wear hijab in photos like that, in family photos like that. That was one of the concerns as well. When I would go to the gym, I decided to start wearing the hijab anyway, because just in case people are taking photos that you're not aware of, and they can post it to social media. So as somebody who's in the public eye, I have to be very careful about that, actually. So I'm learning it's better to be safe than sorry in those situations. So I will say that, you know, there's been some rough moments. I don't think I've had a lot of, luckily, a lot of moments where my hair has slipped out and shown. Maybe a little bit of hair here and there. But for the most part, you know, it's been okay. I always have dreams where I'm just out in public for some reason and my hijab just flies away and I'm just exposed, and I just feel so weird. I don't know how I never wore one in my past.
I'm going to do a little dream interpretation here. I think that has nothing to do with your hijab. I think that most people relate hijab to Islam, and your scarf flying off of your head is you losing your religion.
It's a part of me now, you know, and I know a lot of people think that I'm just going through a phase, and part of me is torn on that belief, because part of me feels like I understand, because I go through so many different phases and I change my mind like the weather, you know, on a lot of things. But when it comes to my belief in God, that won't change. And, you know, even though I'm still working on being a better Muslim, you know, controlling my anger and backbiting and, you know, language a lot of the time, and things that are just really challenging for me to change, doesn't mean that I'm not sincere in my love for my Creator. And I owe my life, you know, what can I say? So, but then there's another part of me that just finds it very, you know, disrespectful to kind of just trivialize someone's decision to take that.
You gotta be kidding me. You know what, Chantal? When I reverted, no one trivialized it. No one did. No one mocked me for it. No one said it was a phase. No one said it wouldn't last, that I would switch to something else in 6 months. No one said any of that. So if people say that it's a phase, you yourself just said that you half agree with that. And you're saying it's disrespectful of other people to think that about you? Do you think possibly you could take any responsibility for that? How people could see you like that and not take you seriously? Does that have anything to do with you at all?
Step in life and, you know, well, just take the hijab off. It's so hot out. And it's like, I'm just not, no, I'm not going to do that. You know, I'm wearing it for a very specific reason. And that doesn't change just because the weather does. So that being said, I hope that answered some of your questions. Feel free to leave any more in the comments below, and I will try to answer them as much as I can. And yeah, I really hope this helped. So more videos to come. All right, guys, thanks for watching and listening to me, and take care. Masalama, bye.
So anything that she said, did that clear up any of your questions, any of your confusion about hijab when she talked about your brother's sister, your stepmother's brother, your dog's aunt? You can see me with a scarf. No one else can. Did that clear anything up for you at all? At all? And it's disrespectful of people to say take it off because it's hot. I don't even think that that has anything to do with the religion. I think people are seeing you look tomato beet red after being outside for literally 20 minutes, seeing you practically pass out on the beach and saying, can you take some of that off? I don't think that has anything to do with religion. This was exactly what I expected, unfortunately. And Chantal, if you're going to use my content as your own, you need to credit my channel. That's it, everybody. Have a good day.